I'm just gonna put it straight like that. You know, you all picked on me when I came out with Confessions of an Ex-Nuwaubian. You all said that how could I believe in a space cadet like Dr.York, and how can I believe that he said he was from another planet and he was crazy and you were weak and you were that. You called me all types of goddamn names. And guess what? I had to sit there and just listen to the bullshit. Even though I knew, you know, that at that point in time when I first joined the Nuwaubian Nation, I was at a very vulnerable state. You understand? Like, what happens is people such as Brother Polight, in which he's not a brother, Polight, Dr. Malachi Z.York, in which he's not a doctor, d.York, what they do is they feed on our stupidity and ignorance. You notice they don't go and sell their books or open up bookstores in white areas. And the reason why is they know that white people are not gullible and naive like black people are. So yeah, true indeed. I'm not gonna sit here and lie. I'm not embarrassed. I'm just being real. I fell for the okie goddamn doke when I was in my young 20s. I didn't have a father figure there. Not to say that, you know, I'm making excuses or excuses. I'm just telling you reasons why. I didn't have a father figure. I didn't have a father to tell me, yo, man, that's some bullshit over there. Don't fuck with that. Didn't have it. So I had to make a lot of adult decisions with a young mind. With a young mind. A boy type mind. A boy type mentality. And a lot of us have to. The ones that were raised by their mothers. And that's who I was pretty much raised by. My mother. But nobody had no sympathy towards me. Nobody cared. Everybody just joked and made a mockery of me, right? And told me I was a fool. And called me all types of damn names, and I had to eat that shit. But those same people, right, started following Polight, Young Pharaoh, Dr. Umar, Nature Boy. And as you can see, all of them motherfuckers are full of shit. And there's no excuse for your stupidity and ignorance, because at the end of the day, I can honestly sit back and say, well, damn, you know, I didn't have the internet. Had I known about Dr. Malachi Z.York, now taking heed, what's that book written by Bilal Phillips? Ansar Colt book was out, right? And I got one from this Muslim guy. But when I was reading it, I went back and I asked somebody in the Nuwaubian Nation about the shit, and he pretty much agreed to some of the shit. Like, he was like, yeah, we did have the green room where you can have sex with your mate and blah, 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 blah. I didn't think too much about it. But had I known the full background of the organization, 100%, and plus I didn't even read the rest of it. I threw it away. Had I known the full background, like, if I had Google, if I had the internet, in order to do some type of intensive research, I would have walked away from that organization. Period. What's your excuse? Because you can look up Nature Boy on the internet. You can look up Young Pharaoh. You can see their past, present, and where they're going in the future. Now the shoe's on the other foot. You see, I stopped following that fool, that dude, Dr. Malachi Z.York, that put his hands on the little people. I stopped it. I stopped following him. And I don't understand how in the world people are still following a man that's locked up, that's in jail. It doesn't even make sense. How can he be a master teacher, or rather what you all call a master of the universe, and he's locked up by human beings? How can he be the supreme being that has the barytheric gland, the 5 higher senses and shit, but he can't manage to do something simple as free himself? I don't get that. And I don't see how y'all make that make sense. I just don't. Not in your mind. I don't get it. But for the most part, what I really don't get is the whole thing with Polight. Polight, that is. You all knew he was capping from the very beginning. You all knew that he was stealing money from the very beginning. But you turned the other way, right? But now these charges, and it's like, it was so, the irony behind it is it's as if I'm reliving the whole Dr. Malachi Z.York thing all over again. The same shit I'm telling you, this is my word, the same type of attitude, arrogance, and narcissistic ways that Polight is presenting to the world, going live on Instagram, is the same shit that Dr.York did with the Isles of Patmos CDs, claiming that he was innocent, even though they had physical evidence of him not being innocent. It's so crazy how so similar those cases are. Polight's case and Dr.York's case. Straight up. And it's as if, I'm not lying, it's like I'm in Bizarro World or some shit. It's as if I'm reliving this shit all over again. But this time, I'm not on the bad end of the stick. This time I'm sitting back and I'm saying to myself, well, hopefully these guys, right? The guys that follow Polight, right? They'll be able to do intensive research and find out that Polight been scamming and been doing all of the shit that he been doing that's negative for eons. Just by the click of a button. Doesn't necessarily have to be on a desktop computer. It could be on a tablet, a laptop, a desktop computer, or your cell phone. See, we didn't have those devices in the 90s. And to be real with you, if Dr. York had gotten locked up, straight up, if he was locked up when I joined the organization, I would have been like, nah, that's all right. I don't want that shit, period. You know what's so funny? The people that convinced me that Dr. York said, the people that convinced me, let me take it back. The people that convinced me that Dr. York was from another planet were the people that were, or persons that were at the bookstore. I never met Dr. York. I never talked to Dr. York. So the reality of it is I never heard it from the horse's mouth. Like, verbally heard him from the horse's mouth, with the exception of going to class. You know what I'm saying? I've been down to the land quite a few times and seen him teach on the land. But having a one-on-one conversation, I never have. So the reality of it is that I really believed those that were in control of the bookstore that I was, a part of. Other than that, I can't say that I believed in Dr. York. I believed in the character. I believe what was hyped up to be. Other than that, I think had I had a conversation with Dr. York, he's not even a doctor. Why am I saying this? Dwight York? Had I had a conversation with him and just was able to nitpick his mind and shit, I probably wouldn't have followed him. Because truth be told, a lot of people have said that he doesn't know any of the languages that he says he knows. He doesn't really know the Quran. He is basically a regular individual that was able to deceive the black community. That's it. And that's exactly what Polight is. That plain and simple. And it was so crazy now that, he's been arrested and charged with these horrible crimes, right? It's like he's gone live and made it even worse for himself. Because, see, prior to that, right, we all believed in the things that he said, and it gave hype. You understand? Like, it, in other words, like, not to be corny, but he had that glow, that last dragon and shit. So it's kind of like the same thing with Dr. York or Dwight York. We never questioned him because he was so right on so many things, right? But now that's so right in so many things based on, his charges. Now we're in our minds, we're questioning everything that he says. And now that we're questioning everything that he says, come to find out, Polight is not as smart as we think he is. He's not. In all actuality, He's just a con man, just like anybody else that just knows a couple of big words. Read a couple of books. I mean, that's nothing. All he did was just invest in his hustle. That's it. When I used to boost clothes, right? You know, they had the inkjets, right? So when you would try to pop the inkjets off of the shirt or the jeans that you were trying to take, right? That you took, not trying to take, that you took, right? Or in the case of an alarm, they had the metal joint, the metal detectors or whatever, the metal things. You had to pop them joints off before you left. Ooh, excuse me. I just ate. Sorry about that. Before you left the store, right? So I caught on to it. I'm like, yo, I'm gonna buy me some wire cutters, because it was a stem. It was a small stem in between. You know what I'm saying? The little piece that held the piece together from the outside of the shirt and the inside. That plastic part. It was a stem inside there, right? So I would take a wire cutter and just boom, cut the stem and it would break apart. But normally if you had inkjets and you tried to move it, it would pop and ruin the whole shirt. So yeah, you stole it. You had it. You had a Tommy Hilfiger shirt, but it was no good because you popped the inkjet and it ruined the whole damn shirt because ink got all over it, right? So I was smart enough to get a wire cutter just to pop the inkjet joint and that metal plastic joint, to pop that shit before I, left out of the store. You understand what I'm saying? That was an investment. I bought big bulky clothes like XXL large jogging pants, so that when I walked into these department stores, I would take the jeans and wrap them around my leg inside my jogging pants, and it's the 90s. I'm walking out and everybody, they're not saying anything because they think that that's just the style. In all actuality, I had shirts and jeans wrapped around my leg. That was an investment. Same thing that I'm saying with Polight. That was an investment. All of those books that he invested in. All of the books that he invested in. That just made his hustle even more better. Period. But at the end of the day, you notice he's never took that bullshit to the white community, because he know the white community is gonna question him. Same thing with Dr.York, also known as Amanumi Rakwata, Afiruti Atumre, Dr. Malachi z.york. Let me tell you something about white people off the rip that I learned, and it's still taking me some time to learn, right? They ask you when they get in your phone number or any type of information from you, they ask you your first name and last name. Period. No aliases. They say, yo, what's your first name? What's your last name? They're big on that shit for some odd damn reason. I'm so used to giving people fake names till it's ridiculous. I got different names, just like Dr.York does, Dr.York does. But it's for particular reasons. I'm not trying to say that I'm the El Kadir. I'm not trying to say I'm Melchizedek. I'm not none of that shit. But for the most part, they ask you for your first name and last name. Dr.York, Dr.York wouldn't last in the white world because they ask you for your first name and last name, and to my understanding, his name ain't even Dr. Malachi z.york. It's Dr.York. Period. So how many names you gonna give white people? You know what I'm saying? Until people in general become confused. I'm saying it's people that have intelligence, that think with their minds. Other than that, black people, we don't think nothing about it. When he changes his name, we make the excuse, oh, that was just a school. How many schools? I've always said this all the time. In the white world, we go from first kindergarten to 12th grade. And then if we want to extend our education, we go to college, and we go to college from anywhere from 4 to 8 years. Just depends on, what degree you're taking it, you're trying to get. Other than that, let's say we go to college for an average of 20 years, right? 12 years, K through 12, 21 years, K through 12, right? And then 8 years, K is 1 year kindergarten, and then 1 through 12, 13, and then 8 years in college, 21. Not in Dr.York schools. The Dr.York schools, they've been going to school since 1967. Over 30 plus years. 40 years. And the schools don't stop. Damn, at least in the white world, you get a diploma. In some cases, you go down south, you graduate from the 5th grade to go to middle school. You get a certificate for that. And then from 6th to 8th grade, you graduate and you get a certificate for that to go to high school. And then from the 9th grade to the 12th grade, you get your high school diploma. You don't get no type of certificates when dealing with Dr. York. You just go to school for the fuck of it. And then when he find the time to say, you know what? I'm done with putting on these costumes. I'm done with this name that I made up or came up with. It's Halloween, trick or treat. Let me put on another costume. One thing I can say about Polight that I'll say this, y'all got the ups on me. Y'all ain't go through a bunch of costume changes, a bunch of name changes. Shit, my name was it went from Naya Naru LL to Hesse Ramus Mket. Ain't no telling what other names he would have gave me if I would have stayed in that damn coat. But at the end of the day, the joke is on you. Because if you're gonna say that I got tricked, you got tricked too. But at least I can sit back and save face and say, well, damn, I ain't had the internet. You all got the internet. You all can do research from Polight, from the rooter to the tutor, from the beginning to the end. And y'all stupid dummies are still following this dude. Hey man, it is what it is. It's people that still follow Dwight York, no matter what he does. There's gonna be people that's gonna follow Polight. That plain and simple. And I don't feel sorry for them. I just know that that day will come. Pause. And when that day comes, you know what's gonna happen? And you know what I mean by that day. That all human beings have to meet their fate. Meaning that we all have to pass on. You see what I'm saying? To the afterlife. The bad part about it and the sad part about it is you all have created followers, future followers, because what you have done is you have put Polight's picture on the wall and Dr. York's picture on the wall, and now you have your daughters praising and your sons praising that man as if he's God in the flesh, just like Jesus. And it's just passed on from one ignorant, stupid person to the next, and one generation at the next generation at the next generation. That plain and simple. And you know what happened when Dr. York passes on or a Polight passes on? You know what? Somebody else is going to claim that they're Dr. York or they're Polight. They're going to say that he has incarnated in me, and now I'm Polight in the flesh in 65. Now I'm Dr. Malachi Z.York in the flesh in 2045. And it just continues to go on and on and on. But at the end of the day, I can at least say I've walked away from cults. I've walked away from organizations, and the only person that I will follow and continue to follow for the rest of my motherfucking life is me. What about you? What about you? Are you still gonna be stuck praising another man? Don't you know how that looks? You looking at another man and praising him, and you have a wife or a girlfriend. Don't you see that she's looking and admiring the person that you worship and praise, and not you? I couldn't have that in my house. Can't no man be bigger and better than me or badder than me. Nobody. In my house, if you want to praise Jesus, guess what? He's second, I'm first. Period. That's if you want to praise him. Just know that I come first. That literally, I come first. Literally, I'm serious. That's my word. Just know you can do what you want to do with Jesus, but just know I come first. Double entendre.